So the movie is called Focus, but it does seem to have a bit of trouble doing that. You know, focusing. Focus is a movie that stars Will Smith and Margot Robbie. Will Smith is pretty much a professional con artist. It's like his job, you know, he has a whole operation going on and all that cool stuff. One day he meets Margot Robbie at a bar. She's also sort of like a pickpocket con artist, and she basically wants Will Smith to, you know, mentor her and stuff like that. Long story short, a couple things happen and they become partners. One thing I really like about this movie is that it spends no time getting started. So the characters meet and instantly goes to the cons. So for the first half of the movie, all the cons are happening. The whole you get to see the whole operation behind the scenes of the, you know, the con artist world. Of course, they have an operation. It's pretty much like a mafia or something like that. So people are getting conned, Will Smith is getting rich, Margot Robbie's learning stuff. It's all awesome, basically. The first half of this movie is pretty much awesome, like, no doubt. So at this point, you're really getting into it. You like the story, you like where this is going, you like to see all the different cons. And then it just sort of comes to a dead stop. Seriously, this is what bogs me the most about this movie, is that halfway through, it just seems to abruptly end like that. And then suddenly it's like 3 years later. And the worst part about it, at least to me, is that they never actually gave an explanation of why, you know, that incident happened at that abrupt stop. It kind of feels like the first half of the movie is one movie, and then the second half is another movie completely. Like if you guys have seen Ocean's 11 and Ocean's 12, like imagine Ocean's 11 was half as short, and then immediately it was followed by Ocean's 12, you know, like, so at the end of Ocean's 11, Andy Garcia gets robbed, and then Ocean's 12, he's looking for revenge. It's sort of like that. Imagine those two movies in one movie of like a 2-hour length. And as you know, Ocean's 11 is better than Ocean's 12, so it really felt like that. It felt like the first half of the movie was awesome, but then the second half became like something completely, I wouldn't say completely different, but it was different than the first half in terms of, like, you know, the story and the feel. Like I said, the first half was really awesome because it showed you, you know, the con artist underground and how the whole thing works, you know, the entire operations, all the different cons they're pulling on people, and you get to see all that, and it's really interesting to see. Like any con movie, you want to see the cons, but towards the second half, it sort of devolves into like a romance-y type story, and like the long con kind of thing. Honestly, the best way I can describe it is like, yeah, at the halfway point, it just became, you know, like Focus 2. Unfocused. With that said though, it doesn't mean that the movie is bad. I just thought that it was a really interesting script decision to have the story jump 3 years later as it's just starting to ramp up. Will Smith is Will Smith, he's always great, he knows how to act, and I'm glad he's not pitching more movies for his son to get famous after Earth. Margot Robbie is great, she definitely can act, and I'm really excited to see the two of them in the upcoming Suicide Squad movie. The dialogue is fun, the cinematography and direction is great. And really, the only problem is the strange decision of having the story jump 3 years forward. Even though I really think they could have just kept it, you know, within what, 1 year or a couple months. But in any case, Focus still held my attention for the entire duration, and I definitely still had a good time watching it. So I would still say Focus is without a doubt worth watching. I just think with the star power they had and the premise of, you know, being a con artist and all that, they could have had a really solid movie and then set up a sequel that would be much more interesting, instead of sort of trying to cram like 2 movies into one, which is sort of what they tried to do here, strangely. At least that's how I feel about it. I don't know, you guys might think, it's okay man, like, it was no big deal, that's how the story would have progressed anyway. So Focus is definitely worth watching, especially if you like con movies. And if you haven't seen Oceans 11, 12, 13, go ahead and see those as well while you see this. And if you have seen Focus, I want to know what you guys think about it. Do you think it was weird how they sort of changed the tone like halfway through? Or do you think it was fine? Let me know in the comments below. And remember, if you enjoyed this review, please hit the like button, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.